Hello friends, I am Naren, your host, and I am back with another video, Terraform Workspaces. In this video, we're gonna talk about Terraform Workspaces. So let's get started. What are workspaces? Terraform Workspaces like a separate copy of your state files, meaning you write one script and you wanted to deploy or provision resource in multiple environment such as Dev, QA. You can use workspace. By default, Terraform has one workspace called default. What if you do not create any new workspace, then all the actions you are doing is doing in the default workspace. Now if you want to create a new workspace, you can run a workspace command and create the workspace you want. So each environment keep its own resource and state. So if you have multiple workspace and you provisions your resource in different workspace, then each environment, each workspace keep its own resource of state file. Key point: workspace don't duplicate your .tf files, they just keep separate state file in the backend, meaning your script, your tf file remains same, but your state file will be different according to your workspace that you have created. In the end of the video, I will show you a demo where we can see all the process of workspace. Okay, now let's talk about when to use workspace. Now it's a great things that we have to understand when to use what, right? So let's talk about when to use workspace. You can use workspace when you have identical infrastructure for multiple environment. For example, understand in this way that you are as a DevOps, okay, you as a DevOps, you have a requirement that the developer team and the QA team want same environment. They want you to deploy the application for a dedicated environment, like QA want their QA environment and they want their Dev environment. So your environment infrastructure will be identical. In this case, workspace is a great fit. So you can use Terraform Workspace to provision the identical infrastructure. Okay, now you want to manage them from same configuration but keep the state files as well. It's the same definition that you want to manage the same configuration but you want to keep the different state files. So different state files means resource allocated differently to each team, and it will generate a different state file for each team. So it will be more like an isolated way. All the resource, all the you deploy the application in different environment, it act as isolated to each other, right? So QA get their unique application and the developer get their unique application. And when you are running a thermal environment, meaning uh, something which not lasting long, meaning you are doing some kind of testing of the deployment to your application, you can try to use the workspace for deployment, and then maybe soon or like it will be not keep very long, so you can use workspace. Now it is also important we have to know that don't when we are not using workspace. See, when you have a completely different infrastructure setup, it's not recommend you to use a workspace. Okay, better to use a separate directory or repo for the completely different infrastructure. If you have a large multiple team environment, like workspace can become messy. Separate project may be better. So that's all about the workspaces. when to use and when to not use. Now let's talk about the workspace command. Terraform provide a few workspace related command that can be help you to easily manage and manage your workspace. For example, if you want to create a new workspace, you can use Terraform Workspace new and your workspace name. In this case, we are saying that we have Terraform Workspace new and we want to create a dev workspace. If you want to list out how many workspace exist in the Terraform currently, then you can run the command list like Terraform Workspace list. It will be show you the list of workspace exist and which one is selected by default. Now, now switching workspace is also available when you have, like, as we know that Terraform have a default workspace, it's named default, and if you create the dev workspace, so when you create a new workspace, by default it gets selected. If you want to switch back to the default one, then you can use Terraform Workspace select default. This will help you to switching the workspace. Now, at last, when you are cleaning the workspace, you can use Terraform delete and then followed by the workspace name. So Terraform Workspace delete and workspace name. So this is about the few commands that exist that provide Terraform for you to work with the workspace. Now, how do you use the workspace in the code? Like sometime you have to, when you have a shared TF file, you want to deploy multiple environment with your shared TF file, then it's very handy to see how you can get the Terraform workspace name inside your code. So you have to put, let's say for example, this is the bucket we are trying to creating S3 bucket by using this code. So we are putting the bucket name in the quotation mark. This is must, and then you can add like quotation mark your bucket name and then $ curly bracket terraform.workspace. This will give you the workspace name that was currently selected, and in this way you can specify your workspace name in the code. Okay, it's demo time, so let's get start to see the demo. And to see the demo, in this demo we are going to deploy the static website for QA environment and DevOps environment. So let's jump to our Visual Studio Code. Okay, here let's go to the command prompt first and then we will open the Visual Studio Code. So I have a folder called Workspace. Now type code.command. Those who are not familiar with it, the code dot will open the Visual Studio Code and it will be open the current working directory, the working directory you are currently using. So let's open our Visual Studio Code. Now I created a new project named Workspace. In this project we are going to deploy a static website for QA and developer. Here is the readme file, and this readme file will help you to share the instruction how you can deploy a static website into two different environments by sharing the same code. So I listed all the operations here, so you can create a new workspace called QA. So let's go to the command prompt and we are going to create a new workspace. As we talked in the PPT, Terraform Workspace new and QA. This command will create a QA workspace. Now here, very important point, make sure you can put your workspace name in the small letter, because this workspace we are defining in the bucket. If you have a capital letter in your workspace, then bucket might throw the error, because all the character bucket name should not be contain a capital letter. So let's create the QA environment. We have created QA workspace. Now let's check how many workspace we have exist. So let's say Terraform Workspace and the list. So we have right now 2 workspace and QA gets selected. So we have to create one more called dev and then again check the list. Now we have 3 workspace. Now dev is selected. So first we will deploy the static website in the dev environment. Okay. So now let's say Terraform init. We want to, I typed the command wrong. Terraform init. This will initialize the Terraform project. Initialization is nothing but initialize the backend and downloading the relevant resource plugins. So right now we are using AWS providers, so Terraform will downloading AWS provider plugin in order to working with the AWS provider plugin. This init command may take 1 or 2 minutes when you are running the Terraform init, since we are downloading the binaries from the internet. Okay, so now our init command has been done successfully. Now let's say Terraform plan. We are run the Terraform plan to see what are the resources are we going to create. In this case we are going to create 6 resources on the AWS. So let's run the Terraform apply command, apply, and we enable the flag auto approve. This will help us to auto approve flag will not ask you to provide a confirmation when you are applying. So now we are creating a static website, and sometime you get this permission error. Although I have specified the permission, let's rerun the command again to see whether the error is persisted or not. So now we are in the refreshing state and it's going okay. This time seems we are trying to create and the bucket has been created successfully. And here you have the dev environment endpoint, meaning you can access your dev website from this URL. So later you can share this URL to your dev team, either using email or either using any other channel for sharing this web deployment application URL. So now let's access this one. We are accessing this URL to check whether voila, our website has been, this is the simple website by the way, just for creating for this demo, but our website has been deployed successfully on the dev bucket. So this environment is for the dev environment. Now let's go to create a new environment for QA. So right now let's check which workspace is selected. It's supposed to be selected the day one exactly. So now we have to switch to QA workspace. So let's go to the workspace and we have the select command and then we will specify QA. Once you select, then you say switch to QA work. Once you switch to QA work, let's apply the Terraform command again. Now we are going to launching a new resource for the QA team. Although we did not change any of our TF file, but this will create a new a new bucket or a new application has been deployed for the QA. You can access using this URL. I will copy this URL, enter. As you can see, we have a QA in the bucket name. Okay, so this is how it's working. But before you stop watching this video, I will give you some more information about this. So in order to get the bucket name, of course my bucket name getting from the variables that I define in the variables.tf, but in the main.tf files I using this method to get my workspace. So more like I appending my workspace name to make sure I can create two different bucket on the AWS in order to deploy a different environment, right? So my bucket name, this will change my bucket name, and it will also, like, otherwise if you don't use the workspace name here, then you will have the you will end up like second time you will get the error that bucket name is already exist. To avoid that, it's better to you can use your workspace name to make sure the bucket name is unique. Now this is one thing. Now second things is, when you are working in different environment, Terraform keep your state files separately, meaning in previous video if you see, then we have a terraform.tf state file, one state file, but now you can see Terraform created a folder of this state file, and it will create the dev environment and it will create the QA environment for you. So dev environment state file will be kept in dev folder, and QA related TF file state file will be kept in QA folder. So this is how the Terraform workspace is working. So now let's clean up our environment. We don't want to uh, continue running the resources. So before cleanup, let's check which workspace we are. So we are in the QA, so we can saying I want to destroy my QA environment application. So you can use a destroy. This will remove all your AWS resource from the QA environment. And make sure when you are destroying the resource, make sure you are in the correct workspace, space selected by you, otherwise you destroy it in the wrong workspace. So now let's select dev. Now we are in the dev and we will run the destroy command from the dev. So the dev destroy will also work, and it will take some time. After refreshing the state file, it will be jump to the destroying all the resource. So now it's trying to destroy all the resource, and the destroy has been successfully. Now let's select default workspace. Now let's check the list of workspace. We still have 3 workspace. I want to delete the dev and QA as well. So you can perform Terraform workspace and then say delete. I want to delete dev first, and then I want to delete QA. So that's all for this demo. And in this demo, if you are new to my video, please like and subscribe my channel. And if you have any suggestion, any comment, you can write your suggestion and comments in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching this video, and bye for now. See you in the next video.